I have more to share next week. And at this time, we're going to invite Ashley Forsyth to share today's daily word.
Good morning. Today is June 16th, 2024, and the word for the day is Father's Blessing. I bless my Father with loving thoughts of gratitude. Today, I bless my father and the father figures I have known with thoughts of love and appreciation. The man I call father may or may not be related to me, but he has touched my life with love. I give thanks for those fatherly figures who selflessly gave their time and love to help me grow into the person I am today. Their demonstrations of patience showed me how to give others space and time. Their humor and lightheartedness taught me not to take myself too seriously. Their guidance and trust encouraged me to be independent and trust myself. I would not be the person I am today without the lesson of love and wisdom shared by my father. In so many ways, he gave me a strong foundation on which I built my life. I am grateful and blessed with all he has given me. And the scripture today is from Matthew 15:4 and reads, "Honor your father." Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ashley. And now we're going to bless our prayer requests. It's a different order of service to accommodate the different style in which we are delivering it today. When we hear of someone who wants a prayer need, they have troubling circumstances, our first reaction may be to want to help, to do something, to take action. That's natural. But before we think of doing anything in the material world, we should begin with prayer. And when we begin with prayer, no matter what the trouble the person has, no matter what it is, we affirm God's presence. And we affirm God's presence and the highest and best outcomes, and see that becoming manifest in the lives of those for whom we pray. And we hold all those who request prayer in our prayer, in our hearts, and we thank God every time that we think of them, and we constantly pray with joy for each person in our church. And so it is. Amen. You can request prayer at the community center when we meet in person, or you can request it from us using our email address on the screen. And you can contact Silent Unity at Unity Village at any time in many different ways. Unity was founded on prayer, and it continues to this day. And for that, we are grateful. We say amen and amen. And now we invite you to join us in listening and singing to I'm Leaning Forward. It's a song by Sky.
Leaning forward in my seat, leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm leaning forward in my seat, leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm leaning forward in my seat, rainbow in the sky. And I wake up with the sound of the thunder, the wind. Oh, and I walk out in the rain. And I let myself relax into who I am. And I'm freed of my pain. Leaning forward in my seat. Leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. Leaning forward in my seat. Leaning forward in my seat. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky.
All right, that was beautiful. The music's been beautiful today, although it's been mainly recorded. I see that Sky has shown up on our screen. Oh, hi, welcome, Sky. Glad you're here. Are you ready to go, or do you need more time for setup? And you're muted right now.
I'm ready to go. How do I sound? Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Ashley and Brian and Bea and Lynn, Lisa, Carla. Wow, what a day. So is this a featurette? Yeah, awesome. So I'm here at the drop-off point with in the parking lot at my daughter's drop-off for camp. It's Father's Day. She's leaving for 3 weeks for camp. So it's like an appropriate way to spend Father's Day. And I want to share with you some ideas about environmentalism and wholeness and fatherhood that resonate for me. So let me start with a PowerPoint slide here. Lisa, maybe, do you have yours? Okay, let me see. As a rain, I'm a rainbow in the sky. I'm a rainbow in the sky. Should work briefly, momentarily. It is a little slow up here on the mountain. Okay, I'm going to share my screen if I have permissions. Share sound. Boom. There we go. The science of plucking a string. Can you see that? Awesome. So I want to start off with some science that comes straight out of my classroom teaching high school students, because it speaks to a concept that I'm going to apply to our human experience as well. And, you know, I come from a background in music, as you just heard my song there. And I've thought a lot about and studied the science of harmonics and sound. So a pluck is what starts a guitar from sounding. It's also what starts our vocal cords moving, right? There's a force of tension from our muscles and some air being pushed across. It's like an initial pluck, an impulse. And the impulse leads to a response from the system. So we're going to talk about this relationship between impulse and response. Just like in your life, you have events that happen to you, then there's a way you respond. Or there's things that you do, there's a way that the environment responds. It's a relationship between these. So you have a guitar with a string that's stretched really tight across a space. When you pluck it, all these harmonics are created. These are vibrations that fit on the string. So you can see the vibrations here. There's one that goes like this, up and down and back up. That's the biggest one, the longest wavelength. There's also ones that fit that go up and down and up and down again. They fit twice. That's the second harmonic. There's ones that go up and down and up and down and up and down 3 times. It's the third harmonic. So we can fit a whole bunch of different waves on here of different multiples of that fundamental harmonic. But not every frequency is possible, not every wavelength, just the ones that fit. So when you pluck something, you're creating this whole spectrum of like specific tones. That's not all that happens. That's the initial impulse. Then you have the response. The guitar has a body to it, a hollow body. Your throat has a mouth next to it, which can change its shape and resonate in different ways. So you have this excitation or impulse on the left, and then it's convolved with, it's a mathematical operation with like a star-shaped thing. Convolved with the impulse response. So you have the impulse convolved with the impulse response. That's the shape of the guitar body, shape of your mouth. You create the actual tone that comes out. And that's where you get on the right, you get this actual spectrum of sounds. It has a lot of low frequency sounds like over here. Just clapping behind me as the kids are getting on the bus. My kid already got on the bus, by the way, so I'm not missing out. She said, "Bye, Dad, I don't want to talk anymore." So when they drive away, I'll point them out. So on the left, we have these low frequencies, and then a lot of them, big amplitude, and less high frequencies. That's all a result of the way that the body of the guitar, or the shape of our mouth and our own body, shape the sound, shape that impulse to become whatever it's going to become. Again, we have the impulse, which is sort of generic, this harmonic series, and then the shaping mechanism of the body, the hollow body. And here we have the sound of a goose, a swan. Can you hear that? It's actually a very resonant tone. On the horizontal axis, we have time. And then you see vertically, there's these evenly spaced or steadily spaced lines that represent the sounds, the harmonics present in that sound. So it's not a smooth spectrum. It's a periodic spectrum. If you go to the buses, there goes my daughter. She's on the 6th bus, and right there. That's the 2nd bus. 3rd bus. You know, it's magical being a dad, and it's been a magical year for me. With her freshman year in high school, I taught her in physics class this year, which I'll tell you more about in the talk, but been particularly special. And it's grateful that she's lets me into her life, to be part of it, and that's how I know I'm on the right track as a dad. So it's special to say goodbye to her as she leaves for camp. It's actually her last year of camp for this camp because she's aging out, well, teenager now. So I'm feeling pretty joyful today. And it was bus number 4, 5, and 6. Amazing. So we got the pluck, and I've just been plucked. And then it's the beginning of the impulse. That's the impulse. And the instrument shape, or for me right now, my own internal state, is the response. How we get vibrated by the world and how we vibrate back. You know, the sense of all the emotions I feel right now are a response to this impulse from my daughter leaving for camp, this event. And the resulting sound is a combination of these two influences. mixing together in all these different ways, convolving. I'm so grateful. So we'll see how that ties into today's talk. That's the featurette on harmonics and sound. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sky. Thank you for sharing your daughter's farewell. I know it plucked all of us. We've been plucked. And now we're going to share another one of your songs called Temperature Rise and Fall.
Hey, this is Sky Nelson. I'm going to play you a song that I wrote probably 10 years ago called Temperature Rise and Fall. And this song spoke to me the journey of awakening and becoming more aware of what's going on inside of myself while I'm watching climate change start to unfold. You know, the overwhelming nature of that dilemma and what it causes on the inside of us, the sort of disconnect and challenge of being alive right now. So this is based off an event that happened in the news about 10 years ago when a huge sheet of ice about the size of Rhode Island slipped into the ocean. A big ice sheet that we all were like, wow, this is happening much faster than we thought. So that comes into the song. Here you go. Temperature rise and fall. She asked of me, how can we become the ones we want us to become? When the barriers are rooted in, my vote is just another leaf on a surely dying tree. I'd rather just hide myself so no one knows about me. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. Our world may be warming, but I can't tell that from here. There's something ever so beautiful about the stops and starts we make, and all the times we thought that we had it made. Look back and say, what happened there? Why did nothing change? And where are my younger days? I can't see them in my face. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. My world may be warming, but I can't tell that from here. Oh, impatience gets the best of me. Oh, a hailstorm of urgency. Oh, I run so fast the grass can't grow beneath my feet. And I try with all my might to make sense of it all. When a giant Arctic sheet collapse is possible. Temperature rise and fall. My world may be warming, my world may be warming, my world may be warming, but I can't tell that from here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So I want to talk today about what it's been like for me to try and wrap my heart and my brain around climate change, environmentalism, social justice, and all the ways that I've wanted to make a difference in the world, and also wanted to live a full and rich life of love and joy. So those things are connected, I think. And I want to share 3 ideas that have helped me along the way. Before I do that, start with a story. So when my daughter was, actually start with a picture. Here's a picture. Definitely got to do this. It's my daughter, Eliana. This is in Washington, D.C. last March. Took a trip there. She's amazing. And when she was about 8, I think, it was in 2016, I was in the middle of writing my book, my first book, Living in Flow, that many of you have read. And that book came out 3 years later. I was just in the process of learning to be a writer. And I was writing some things. I had written a draft of my book, but I was also writing like for magazines and stuff, trying to get better at it. And I had a dream one night. In the dream, this guiding voice came to me and said, write something that gets noticed. Well, yeah, of course. That's what I want. But what is it? How do I do that? Is my volume okay, by the way? Good. How do I do that? And so I wrote something. I sat down very seriously and I wrote down like this diatribe about, politics and my view on certain things. I shared it with a friend and they were like, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of powerful stuff, but it's not really compelling for me to like want to read more and sit down and read this on my free time and do something about it. I realized that there was something missing for me about like my opinions versus being moved in some way by my heart and my soul. So I tried to, you know what I mean by that? Like when you try and do it with your brain a lot, that you realize there's something missing from your own inner experience that needs to come through it. So I tried again and I sat with it and just lived my life. And one day I was at the store with my daughter, grocery store. We finished checking out and we're in line. And there's a magazine rack, on the side of the aisle. And there's all these magazines for trying to get you to buy them right there. There's the Inquirer, and it says, "It's true, Muslim spies in CIA under Obama." And it was like, this sort of hate-filled story that was untrue, that it was about the election that had just happened with Clinton and Trump. It was just all this, first of all, not true stuff, but also it struck me in a way that this is actually dangerous stuff. Like we can't have this on the standby to check out with my daughter seeing it, I was really impacted by it. And I couldn't focus on the check stand paying actually, let me read what I wrote. At that moment, standing in the grocery store with my daughter, I was deeply bothered, hardly focused on paying for my groceries. I couldn't respond to my daughter's innocent chatter. I was distracted. So as we walked towards the exit, I had a moment of clarity. And I turned with my daughter back to the check stand. I asked to speak with the manager. The manager didn't appear right away, and I began to feel antsy. I wondered, is this really worth my time? As the minutes ticked by, waiting for the manager, my doubt quieted and I settled into a resolve. Take action, not stay silent. My daughter looked up at me and finally said, "Daddy, this is kind of boring." I said, "Yeah, it is, but it's important. Thank you for being patient." And so she waited with me and we talked to the manager and I said, I appreciate you and this is not your fault, but I think this is, bad material to have on the shelves because it's telling lies about things that really matter, creating discord, right, in our communities. And he said, if that's the way you feel, we'll take it down. He pulled it off the rack. I have every other rack and pulled it off. And maybe there's a mix of like, is that the right thing to do? I don't know. In that moment, I felt like I stood there and waited for him and asked him to respond to me and gotten a change to happen based on that choice. Felt really empowering. And I went home and I wrote about it. And on the bus the next day to school, I put it online in this blog and clicked submit. And by lunchtime, I had like 100 reads, 10 comments. By the end of the day, I had like 20 comments and 1,000 reads. And a week later, I had like 20,000 views and this ongoing dialogue about this story that I'd written. I'd written something that got noticed. So this dream literally came true based upon an unexpected situation. So 3 principles that I want to share about my path that have helped me align my personal spiritual journey with my desires as a human being and professional, with my desire to make a difference in the world, politically and environmentally, are these. And of course, they have to do with synchronicity. I always talk about that. And filters, how we are living in an entire wholeness of the world. We're always filtering it down to what we can perceive. Now, that in some way limits what we can see in a bad way by making us not see other things that could help us. But it can be helpful too. So just knowing that that's true, that we're living in a filtered world, is helpful. So the 3 principles are this: allow yourself to be led by life or by your heart. Allow yourself to be led by life. I was led here today to the parking lot on the phone with you guys at the same time as just unfolding for me. I'm so joyful about it. So the second principle is be a learner. Be curious and open. Open about your own agenda even. How am I showing up with an agenda here? What is my response that I'm bringing to the impulse I'm getting? What is my impulse that I'm creating and creating a response from the world? Be a learner. Be curious and open about your own agenda. And lastly, watch for the issue to emerge in your life in the form of synchronicity. So with the story about the writing, of course, I was led by life to want to be writing and to have this experience. And I noticed how my desire for writing about environmental and political stuff unfolded in a particular way for me. I learned from the experience myself. But I want to share a couple other examples that bring the points home. So the first one, allowing yourself to be led by life. You know, I think I've shared with you earlier in the year that I'm teaching right now, and I got pulled back into teaching because my daughter didn't have a teacher. And I was not wanting to be a teacher again. I did not like it when I was in my 30s, 20s. It was really hard. But I got re-inspired by reading Frank Oppenheimer's book. He created the Exploratorium Museum. He's a scientist. He's also an educator and teacher. He's also a political activist. You know, the Exploratorium is a museum, science museum in San Francisco, dedicated to awareness. Because he lived through the communist Red Scare, and he saw people reacting to false information and in their limited filtered minds and worldviews, creating serious problems in the world because of their inability to see past their own little blinders. So we created this museum to expand your idea of what you are. And because of that, seeing myself in him, and the teacher, the activist, and the physicist together, I suddenly saw myself in the role as a teacher for my daughter, for those students. So allowing myself to be led by my life not only let me have the experience of teaching my daughter, which is amazing, but it healed a part of me because the thing that I was calling into my life was a sense of the mental inner story that I'm not liked, I'm not good enough, that I got to do something more or different or better to improve. And life had a funny way of showing me this past 2 months, my last semester at school, like literally 2 or 3 times a week, I'd have a student come up to me in a different context and say, "Mr. Nelson, you're the best teacher I ever had." And it took that and all these different students at different times, like just coming at me again and again to realize I am okay, to heal that part of me that was just turning it around all the time in the other direction, and just say, no, I don't need to do that. I am good at this. These people love me. I'm cared for. And I never planned on that when I went back to school, but I got it. So I'm so grateful that I allowed myself to be led by my life through this fear of not going back to teaching, to do that and be part of the classroom again. It's been healing for me. And this is where being a learner is so valuable. Like seeing my desire to be important and to be loved, be excited and creative, how that plays into my role as an activist, doing things in the world that are important, right? So it was for me that I got to teach. I get something very, very specific for me out of it. Just like I got something out of the writing that article. Like I get a lot of feedback, I get credit. I love getting credit, right? I want to acknowledge that. That's my agenda. I want to be known for my good things. But I get to do that, and also we get to do that and be part of change in the world as well. So by being a learner, we get to both get something from the experience and also give something to the experience in exchange. So I'm no longer the activist that just goes out and tries to fix things. Climate change is not a problem to be solved anymore for me. It's a wound to be healed. It's my wound that I'm healing along the way. And along that learning journey, I also have another story about a student who came to me, and we were in a conflict in the classroom, and she said, I was telling her that the behavior was not appropriate or whatever. She said, "You're not my father." Good message on Father's Day, right? "You're not my father." And I just stopped. I was struck by that. And instead of trying to go deeper into the conflict, I just paused and backed up a little bit and let it resolve just by her walking away. And then I thought about what that meant. And I remembered a training that I'd just been in the week before with my colleagues, faculty on white supremacy, how one of the qualities of white supremacy that we might not be aware of, I wasn't, is paternalism. Speaking to people as if you're sort of like a parent. And I just noticed this experience, oh, I'm a learner here. I didn't know I was participating in that, but now I know something I didn't know before. I see this relationship in a new way. So seeing that synchronicity of like having just been shown that in the training the week before and then getting the experience in the classroom, being open to it, I'm grateful for that. It expanded my understanding of myself and my relationship with my students. So being in the classroom has let me, as a learner, understand how my expectations are just mine, right? My way of learning and teaching is mine. My classroom reflects that, but it's not the only way. And the students come in there with their ways of learning. And it's very, very valuable for me to look for the opportunities to understand the broader picture so that I don't create my version of a new world from the same perspective of that structure of supremacy that I'm coming from, just implicitly from my culture. And that's my hope, is that learning how to not recreate the same structures is so important. And that's why I want to come from my heart, not my opinions about what's the right way to fix things. Again, climate change is not a problem to be solved. It's a wound to be healed. And so finally, watching for the issue to emerge in your life in the form of synchronicity. That happened in the classroom with this conversation with the student. It happened when the teaching job got offered to me. And it happened when I wrote that story about the magazines in the store. You know, once I've set my targets on an idea I want to understand or something I want to contribute to or heal from myself, it starts to show up in my life. Do you know what I'm talking about? Has that happened for you? It starts to show up in your life. You see the things you're wanting to know more about or experience more start to appear in different ways. The trick is not to be blind to them, maybe. So we're looking for a certain thing. I'm looking for a way to write a story that matters. I'm not looking for the experience in the grocery store and the magazines over here, and I have an emotional reaction that I can pay attention to. If I've got blinders on and I got to be somewhere, I'm going to miss that. But that led to me. I saw it. I opened up my whole view, and it led to me writing this story that did exactly what I wanted it to do. So allow yourself to be led by life and by your heart. Be a learner and curious and open to your own agenda, aware of your own agenda, and be honest about it. Be loving towards it, and watch for the issue to emerge in your life as a synchronicity. It brings us back to the impulse and response, right? It's this impulse, something we want to create in the world. We have to look at, when we do that, what's the response? Are we doing it? You know, we've got some agenda when we give an impulse. How is that agenda being received? Are we asking questions and listening to others' opinions as a response? Are we open to the response? I do find in my own mind and in many cultural dialogues around environmentalism, there's sort of I know what to do. I know the right answer. It's clearly XYZ. And that's an impulse, right? But it doesn't take into account the response. What's the other person's or the cultural group's experience, needs? And I think if we're not aware of that, we're not creating a musical instrument anymore, just creating a plucking string, right? If you ever plucked a string without a guitar behind it, it doesn't sound very nice. You need the whole body of the environment to create that resonant tone. So, Wholeness. Let me see if I have a reading here for you. My book, Leap to Wholeness, which we wrote a few years ago. Okay. As a person of privilege, without understanding my culture's history and the stories of marginalized people, my efforts are likely to repeat the oppressive structures of the past. This is not just about studying the histories of other people, but studying my own inner history. What are the lessons I took away from my youth? How did I learn to respond when I felt threatened? What do I believe about the value of my voice? In what situations do I find it difficult to listen to others? Where in my life am I overly certain? Dealing with external problems is not separate from the internal problems we face. By seeking to understand wholeness, we're invited to continually turn our attention back to the inner causes of polarization and unhappiness. When we cease to feel isolated, we cease to allow ourselves to be polarized. Through connection, we find more happiness. And through happiness, it becomes more difficult to marginalize the perspective of others. The more we feel included, the more we are drawn to include others. Thank you so much. I hope that resonates for you, and I'd love to hear your stories and experiences that resonate with that. We have another song, I guess, to play.
Our order of service says meditation and song, so it would be up to you which one and what order.
Let's take a deep breath. I'm going to call in gratitude right now. Gratitude that I get to be a father. Gratitude for the fathers in the service. Gratitude for our fathers that came before us. Open your heart if you want to your father or a father figure that you had. Take a deep breath and just feel whatever emotions are there. Whatever emotions are there. Whatever father means to you. As you imagine the world from the perspective of your people in your life that have been fathers to you, or you as a father, open up to the wholeness of experience. How many different ways there are to be, feel. And from this next song, imagine passing this down to the next generation, together creating a better world for children.
Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. It's possible to build a world of love, joy, and peace. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. Everyone can dream very big, imagining the craziest goals, believing in yourself and having faith each day. What you conceive and believe you'll achieve. What you conceive and believe you will achieve. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. It's possible to build a world of love, joy, and peace. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. Everyone can know the secret here. Success begins with an idea. Writing down your goals and singing them each day. What you conceive and believe you'll achieve. What you conceive and believe you will achieve. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. It's possible to build a world of love, joy, and peace. Together,
create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. Everyone can cherish every step, persevere and show your strength, acting with respect, enjoying victory. What you conceive and believe, you'll achieve. What you conceive and believe, you will achieve. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. It's possible to build a world of love, joy, and peace. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children. Together, create a better world for children.
Thank you. So nice to hear that song.
Thank you, Sky. Beautiful song, especially for Father's Day. And it was a wonderful talk, too. I know we'll have more to say about it during our stay and chat period after this service.
Good.
Now we're going to have an opportunity for a love offering. We know that when we're online, we can't pass the bag, and so you have other ways to give your offering today. You can just go online and use one of our buttons, make your gift, or you can always mail one in. We focus our minds on the richness of divine life, and we feel calm and assured as we remember we live in an abundant universe. So we align our thinking with divine mind in prayer and claim prosperity and feel prospered as we do. We know in unity there's 3 ways we have of giving: time, talent, and treasure. And we are grateful for all 3 and know that it takes a village to lead a church, and each one of you is an integral part of this ministry. We thank you. So please join in our offering affirmation. I'll read it once and invite you to read it with me the second time. I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. And together, I give thanks for my new vision of God as my infinite, constant, abundant source. And so it is. Are we going to sing our offering song? No, that's okay. We can go to our announcements, because I had a lot to say about this first one. This next Thursday at 6:30 p.m., we are going to meet at the home of B. Swearingen, who has once again graciously opened her home to us to have one of our events. This is a summer solstice gathering in which we will not even mention the summer solstice, sorry. But the full moon is the next day, and we're going to be talking about that. And we're going to have Stephanie Henderson as part of the team that presents this event. And she is a registered Cherokee, and her parents live on the reservation. So throughout the event, she is going to give us little lessons in how the Cherokees do things. So we'll have an opportunity to share in some of those traditions. It's going to be a great evening. We invite you to sign up online and to join us on Thursday. Amy Hansen is the other member of our team, and she's going to be doing the Strawberry Moon presentation. Then we have next Sunday, Come Home to Unities, our Sunday service. Lisa will be back, and Melissa Olson will be our guest musician. We are going to have a potluck after the service, and I hope that includes the potlatch. I think we just kind of assume by now if it's a potluck, we're going to have a giveaway table because I'm collecting stuff for it. Should sign up for the potluck. I guess that's online. And then, as we mentioned earlier, we are, as usual, going to stay after the service, those who are on Zoom with us, so that we can check in and catch up with Sky and Lisa. So at this time, let us join together in singing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyful vow, to take each moment and live each moment peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And we join together in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. God bless you all. Have a wonderful week.
We got a good thing going on around here. Got a good thing going on around here. You can see it on each and every face. There's a sweet, sweet spirit in this place. We got a good thing going on around here. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing going on. We got a good thing going on around here.
Thank you, everybody. And you